Hey, what's up YouTube? Garathi here. I am bringing you guys yet another Trickster character. This time we're playing Arc Ignite. Now, I actually played this character way back in the day, back in Delirium League. This character is quite a bit different from that one though. That one used Archmage and Fevered Minds, and yeah, this character is a lot different. However, that was one of my favorite characters of all time, and I've been meaning to come back to it and try it out in a different way. And this is the perfect lead to do so because of the reworked Trickster. I've been making a lot of characters and trying a lot of different things out with Trickster, and I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite ways to play it. Arc Ignite has been a blast so far. This character is by no means done yet, so this isn't really like a build guide necessarily, but more of like a showcase. And I want to go over like the important things for the build, like important items and what's important on the tree, and I'll go over some frequently asked questions on my stream. That's where you guys can expect from this video, and yeah, let's get started. Clear speed versus bossing. Now, in my opinion, Varrock is one of the most satisfying and one of the best clearing skills in the entire game. However, in terms of single target damage, this build is not the most impressive. A single target can get to a reasonable level, and you can likely kill all the pinnacle bosses quite easily. This character really exceeds at doing things like Expedition and Legion, and just general like map clearing type things. I would not recommend to play this character for like something like Uber farming, for example. This is more of a mapper. And yeah, that's where this build excels. Now that's out of the way, I want to talk about another big problem with this character. And that is Stormfire. So the way you play Arc Ignite as a non-elementalist is by using Stormfire. The shrine gives you your lightning damage can ignite line. The big downside here is it requires level 80. And yeah, you have to level up as something else until level 80. I personally leveled as Arc Selfcast. However, I would recommend you play something like Armageddon Brand Cremation. It'll just be like a lot faster, and you'll be Ignite build relatively early. So you'll be leveling Ignite gems, and yeah, it's just a smoother transition. But you can also just level as Arc. That's fine. That's what I did. There's also the option to level as like self-cast Spark or something. There's a couple options there. I would recommend just playing what you want and what you're comfortable with. So why are we not playing Elementalist then? This is a familiar question if you guys are following my other character. I think Elementalist is a bit more damage, and you obviously can go Arc Ignite from normal lab. But Trickster is just a better character overall, I think. This character is going to be quite a bit tankier, and it's going to have a lot better sustain, and general mappings is going to be a lot smoother. And yeah, that's the main reason I'm playing Trickster. There's a couple items I want to go over. The first item I want to talk about is Stabilizing Scepter. This scepter gives you elemental equilibrium. Now the way E works is it grants exposure for the element opposite of what you're doing, or the two elements opposite of what you're doing. So for example, lightning damage causes fire and cold exposure, or fire damage causes cold and lightning exposure. And for this build, you want to have only lightning damage. So Arc does lightning damage, and we have flat lightning on our scepter. You want no flat fire damage at all. And since our hit is going to be lightning, we are going to expose fire damage. That's important because Ignite is fire damage no matter how you ignite. So if you ignite with lightning damage, chaos damage, whatever, Ignite is always fire damage. So we want fire exposure. And that is the big benefit of this build. You get EE pretty easily because we're doing lightning damage. That's the first item I want to talk about. The other item is Pyroshock. Pyroshock class belt. This item is criminally underused in my opinion, and it fits really well into this character. Pretty much every stat on it is really good for us. Dexterity is good, evasion's good, duration of ailments is good. But the big part about it is enemies ignited and shocked by you have the percentage of fizz damage converted to Ellie. This is important because we have basically no fizz mitigation. However, we obviously have pretty good lightning and fire res, right? If we're converting the fizz damage to lightning and fire, we're taking quite a bit less damage. And that is one of the main ways I deal with fizz damage on this character. This character has no armor. We're not running determination. So that is one of the main ways we deal with it. The other way is running Enduring Cry. This character is actually running Anomalous Enduring Cry. You don't have to run this, but this is what I chose to do. Anomalous gives you Warcry speed. You can also run Min Endurance Charge rings or A ring and Amulet. That would be a nice way as well. And we're also running Arctic Armor. for a little bit more extra phys mitigation, at least while we're standing still. I'll talk about more of the gems a bit later, but I wanted to mention that real quick. Another really important item is Impossible Escape. Now, this is pretty much impossible to get in SSF, but I got lucky and found one. This gives us 45% increased chain range. This is a really nice item. If you're in Trade League, this is very good for the build. We also get a little bit of suppression here, which is pretty useful. So those are the main items I wanted to talk about. Yeah, let's talk about chaos damage. Now, a lot of people were really worried about chaos on this character, or the character before. It's pretty much the same. You just get a little bit of chaos res on your tree and some chaos res on gear, like 30 to 40 positive chaos res at least, and the bypass evasion ES mastery. And chaos damage honestly isn't that big of a problem. This character is built very similarly to my Light Conduit character. We're using Ghost Dance and Wicked Ward for some recharge rate, and we have ES Overleach from Soul Drinker. Now for the Ascendancy points, I would recommend early on you go Swift Killer. So level up a Swift Killer, have some way to generate friendly charges. In my case, I use Orb of Storm's Ice Fight, and then I get Polymath second, Escape Artist third, Spellbreaker fourth, and you can respec this whenever you want to grab Soul Drinker. That's the way I'd go with the Ascendancy points. I quickly want to go over a couple of the gem links. We are using Smite in this character. Smite, Empower, Ancestral Call, and Faster Attacks. The faster attacks should be the play for mapping. I think you might need additional accuracy once you do bosses though. If you're tagging more than one target, you pretty much always hit with Smite. But for like a single target, additional accuracy might be required. Now for the arc setup, we are currently using Cruelty, Inspiration, Ignite Prolif, Combustion, and ES Leech. Cruelty and burning damage can be swapped on bosses. I'm not sure if you can hit the capped Cruelty, but if you can, Cruelty is good enough. Inspiration is a very important gem link. We need to reduce mana cost, and the crit is actually very useful for Elemental Overload. The playstyle on this character for bossing is to spam as many arcs as possible. Each cast of arc will shock, and then the next cast will be a bigger shock, and so on, and you have a higher chance of getting a good damage range hit. Because arc does have like a pretty big damage range, and ER uptime. So yeah, you want to pretty much be casting as much as possible on single target. And yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about, I think. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let me know if you guys like this type of content. I will probably try to make another video on this character, one that has like a setup with clusters and all that good stuff once I actually play the character a bit more. But yeah, I've been really enjoying this character, and hope you guys enjoy it as well. I'll see you guys next time.